Hello everyone and welcome back to this three-part series where I will be showing you 3 different skill level projects. In our last video we made a super cute bookmark, but today we'll be making a Polaroid back charm. So let's get started. Okay, so there we finished our little flower bookmark. A really easy, simple project for beginners. Now, if you're ready to do something a bit more difficult, you want something on the more medium skill level, we're going to be making this little photo charm that you can hang on your bags. Okay, so for this little photo charm for your bag, I made this green with a pink bow. You obviously don't have to use the same colors, but in this case I'm going to just use the same colors I use on this one. So I'm going to be using a green yarn, but I think I might make the bow either a white this time or maybe a pink, but most likely I think I'm going to make it a white. You can definitely change the colors, you don't have to do the same colors I'm doing, but in this case I think I'm just going to keep them the same except for the bow. So to start, we are just going to do a slip knot. If you forgot how to do a slip knot, you can go back to the first project that we did, the little bookmark. So this is very customizable. If you had a photo that was bigger, then obviously you would chain more chains to make it wider, but I'm just going to do the same exact size, and this will be my guide. So I'm just going to chain until I reach the same width that I have on this one. Okay, so now that I've reached the width that I want for this one, we are going to just go back around and do some single crochets. So for our first row, I did 3, 6, and 9. I did 12 chains for this one because it matches the same width as the one I made previously. You definitely do more chains or less chains, but I found that this one fits perfectly well a little Polaroid photo, so that's why I made it that big. Okay, so for the first row, we're going to go into the second chain from the hook right here, and we're going to just insert the hook and pull up a loop. So we have 2 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through 2, and that's a single crochet. So we're just going to single crochet all the way down to the end. And now that we reached the end of the row and we've done a single crochet in every chain, we're just going to chain 1 and we're going to turn to the other side, and we're going to single crochet all across again, and we're just going to keep doing that, single crocheting all the way down each row until we achieve the height that we want. So we're just going to keep going all the way up until we want it as tall as however you want it, and depending on how tall you want, then you would do more rows. If you want it shorter, then you would do less. But yeah, let's just keep going and do more single crochets all across until we reach the height that we want. I finished all my rows, and now I have the exact same height as I did on the other one. And to be exact, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I did 19 rows on this one. You could definitely do more if you want it taller, but I did 19. So for now we're just going to snip right here. The tail doesn't have to be too long because we're going to do the front piece now, this little with the little opening. So we're going to put this to the side, and once again, working in single crochets also, we're going to do a slip knot. And we're going to insert our hook, and we're going to chain the same width that we did our back panel right here, so we can get this front piece like that. Let me put in the photos so that we can have a better view of this front panel right here. So I'm just going to chain the same amount of chains I did for the back panel so I can have the same width. Okay, I made it a little bit too big. Let's take out some. Now working into the second chain from the hook, we're going to single crochet all the way down again towards the end of the row. So right now I have 5 single crochets, and I'm going to do 4 more for a total of 9 single crochets in this first row. And this is very similar. We're going to be working in turns, and we're going to chain 1 at the end of every row. As you can see, we have the same length, like so. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to do this same row. We're going to do it 3 or 4 more times, depending on how tall you want this one. This one I did it, looks like I did it 3 times, so I'm going to go ahead and do 3 rows to get the same height. Now that I have 3 rows and I did the little bottom border part, we're going to chain 1, which I have already done, and we're going to turn, and we're going to do 2 single crochets like so, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn it, and we're going to keep doing that until we reach the same height all the way up till almost all the way to the top, to like around here, because we still have to make this top piece. So we're going to chain it all the way to like almost the top, and I'll tell you how many rows exactly I did to achieve this height. So once again, we're just gonna do 2 single crochets, and we're gonna chain 1 and just keep turning until we reach that height. And I'll come back when I'm ready. Okay, so I made the side border now, and what you have to do is cut your yarn and just fasten off, and now we have to make the other little side of the frame, and once we do that, we're going to connect them at the top and start working up, and once we do that, we can finally connect the front to the back. So to do the other one, the other side, you're going to grab your yarn, and you're just going to make a loop, and you're going to insert it into the second one from the side, because we're only doing 2 single crochets. You're going to insert it and pull up the yarn, and we're going to chain 1 here, and in the same stitch that you just pulled up the yarn, you're going to insert it again, and you're going to yarn over and pull up a loop once again, and yarn over, pull through 2 to make a single crochet, and in the next stitch just make a single crochet as well. And we're just going to do the same thing we did on the other side. We're going to chain 1, turn, and do 2 single crochets until we reach the same height as the other side. So I'll be back when I have all 11 rows. So now I did the other side, and now we're going to connect the 2 sides from the top together. So we're going to insert our hook and we're going to make a slip stitch. So we're going to pull up a loop and we're going to slip stitch. Make these very loosely because we're going to come back and do a stitch on top. And if you make them too tight, it's going to be really hard to put your hook in. So now we're going to do another slip stitch, and then we're going to chain a couple stitches to reach the other side. Not too small, but not too big. So we can reach the other side, but still have a good amount of space for the opening. So I chained approximately 6 chains. So now I'm going to insert my hook into the other side right here. Don't worry about the tails, we'll weave them in at the end. And we're going to insert, and we're going to pull up a loop, and then we're going to do a slip stitch again. Okay, so now that we have chained across, we're just going to chain 1, and we're going to turn it around, and we're just going to single crochet across like so. I'll zoom in a little bit more. So it can be a little tricky to get into the slip stitches that we just made because they are a little tight, but just take your time and single crochet across the whole entire thing. The thing kind of twists up a little bit when you're trying to work, but just keep moving it until you can get it to stay put. Now when you're going to single crochet across the chains right here, I like to grab both loops of the little chain. As you could see, each little chain is like a V, so I grab both loops, and I'll show you right now. So I go through one, and then I go through the other one as well, so that way I'm through both. You just grab it. It's a little tricky, so that way I have both little V's on my hook from the chain, as you could see. And then we're gonna yarn over, pull through, and pull through 2 to make a single crochet, and we're just going to do the same thing all the way across to the very end. Now that we've reached the end, we're going to chain 1 again and turn, and we're just going to single crochet for 2 more rows. Okay, so now we finished with our 3 rows on the top, and we're done with the frame. So we're going to cut the yarn. Make sure you leave a long enough tail so that you can have a lot to be able to sew all around the little frame, because we're going to attach both sides together. So leave pretty long tail and fasten off your hook. And before we do that, we're just gonna quickly weave in all these little ends so that way they're not in our way. Okay, now that I weaved in all the ends from both our back panel and our front panel, we're going to attach both of them. So I left an extra long tails and I put my needle on. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to place the top piece on top of the bottom piece, and we're just going to sew all around, but we're gonna leave the top open so you can put your photo through. Okay, so now I have attached the front and the back together, so now we can move on to making the little bow and the little handle. So first we're gonna make the little handle, since I still have the green here with me, and we're just going to slip stitch. And really the length of your handle depends on you. I'm just gonna use this one as my guide and try to get the same amount of chains, but you can definitely make yours smaller or bigger. Just make sure you can be able to put the whole little charm through it, because that's how you're going to attach it to the bag. If you can't wrap it around and put the charm actually through the loop, then it's way too small. But other than that, you can make it way bigger or way smaller. And at the end, I'll show you how it looks on a bag, so you can kind of get an idea. Okay, now that I have my desired length for the handle, I'm going to just cut it, leaving a good length of tail to be able to attach it. Then we're just gonna fasten off and tighten it. Grab my needle, put my yarn through my needle. Oops. This is why the bigger the opening of the needle, the easier it is. So what I like to do before I attach it is I like to make sure that the chains are facing the right side. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but I just do it anyways, because I want to attach the two ends together before I actually attach it to where the little photo is gonna be at. So I just like to make sure that both of the chains, the right side of the chains, are facing up, like so. But I don't want the back piece and then the front piece. I want the two front pieces facing forward. And all I'm gonna do is just take this yarn and push it through one of the other chains on the other side and just tighten it. Go a couple of times, just so it's kind of secure, and it makes it a lot easier to attach it to here. Now to attach it here, obviously you're going to attach it on the side that has the opening, and you're just gonna flip over to the back and just eyeballing it. You're just going to place the two chains facing the right side. You're gonna place them down, so that way the back side is facing up, and you're just gonna place it like in the middle, whatever you, or I mean, it doesn't have to be in the middle, you could put it in the corner, but I like it in the middle. So just in the middle, and you're just gonna attach it. You're just gonna go into the back panel. Make sure you just go through the back panel and not both the front panel and the back panel, because then the opening that you made will be closed and you're not gonna be able to put the little photo in. So I just like to go in a couple times to feel like it's really secure. And once I'm happy with how it is, I'm just going to weave in the tail into the back panel, and then I'm going to weave in this other short tail as well. Okay, now that I've attached the little handle, like so, it did come out a bit longer than this one. Just a tiny bit, but it's okay. That's fine. The length can be different if you want it to be. So now I'm going to make the little bow. So you can make it whatever color you want. Instead of pink, I think I'm going to make this one white. And the bow is really easy. It's just chain. So once again, we're going to make just a little slip knot to attach it to our hook, tighten it, and honestly the amount of chains that you do really depends on how big you want your bow, how long you want the tails of the bow. But really I just chain until I can actually comfortably tie it into a bow. But you could definitely make it way bigger if you wanted to, or smaller. It's really up to you. You just have to chain your desired amount. So I think I'm gonna stop here, but before I cut it off, I want to try it out and make sure I can actually tie a bow, and if I like the length and how it looks, then I will just cut off the yarn. So you can see like it barely wraps around with one loop, so it needs a lot more. Just gonna go back and add some more. Okay, let's try it now. Yeah, no, it still needs more. Well, let me try again one more time. So I tied the bow, and I think I like this size. It's just these tails aren't symmetrical, so I'm just gonna add 2 more chains to the side. And you don't have to undo the bow for this. You can just insert your hook again and do just a couple more until they reach the same length, and you can see they're the same length there. So I'm going to just cut the yarn, pull out my hook, and tighten both tails. So now we're going to attach the bow to the top, and we're going to weave in these ends. One of the tails I just weave it into about here and I cut it off, but the other one I bring it all the way to the middle in the back, so that way I can actually attach it to the frame. So I'm gonna do that now. So I actually decided to bring 2 tails to the back, so that way I can actually tie a knot on the back of this to make it just a bit extra secure. So I'm just going to do one at a time, and in the back I'm just going to tie a knot and then weave in the ends. So I want the bow like around right here. So I'm just going to insert my needle to around there, and then I'm gonna take it out and do the other one, and in the back we can tie the knot and then weave in the ends. Okay, so now we have both ends in, and we're just gonna pull them a bit and just flip it around like this. We're just gonna grab our 2 tails and tie 2 regular knots. Not too tight, because then it will end up pulling the little tails of the bow, since the yarn did go through there as well. So just gently do it. Now you could choose to not weave in the ends and just cut them really short and leave them on the inside and no one will see them, but I personally am going to weave them in. Okay, there, I weaved in all the ends and the bow's now attached. So now you can grab whatever little Polaroid card you want and just put it in. Just slide it in there. And now you have this super cute little photo charm. And I'm gonna just grab my bag here so I could show you how it looks on a bag. So this is just a regular brown bag that I have. And you would just wrap it around like this and then open the loop and bring the charm in and just pull it. And now you can put it on a bag, on a tote bag, on whatever you want. So this is our completed medium skill level project. Well, this concludes our medium skill level bag charm. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, and if you're interested, check out my Etsy shop in the link below. Bye!